individual capacity, solemnly swear that the material and answers you submit in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Mr. Batt.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may put your hand down. Ms. Thorne.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may put your hand down. Now let's, before we proceed on your individual cases, I'm going to do this jointly to some extent, but then the individual papers will be obviously separate. I need to discuss with each of you some constitutional rights and protections that you have in this system and in this proceeding. You each individually have the right to remain silent. That means that you don't have to make a statement. You don't have to answer questions. You don't have to submit written paperwork that has your signature, especially papers that admit or confess to wrongdoing. Do you understand you have the right to remain silent, Mr. Batt?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Ms. Thorne?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
You each in your individual cases have the right to a jury trial. That means that you and your attorney and the state in their capacity would select 6 people from a jury panel of people that are randomly selected. And those 6 people in your individual cases, each individually, would hear the evidence, the testimony, look at the material submitted, and decide whether you're guilty or not. You have a right to demand a jury trial. Is that understood, Ms. Thorne?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Is that understood, Mr. Batt?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
You each individually in your case have the right to confront witnesses. That means that each of you can face your accusers or the people who would testify in your case. You each would be able to, with the assistance of your attorney, cross-examine, question, or challenge any witness who would testify. That's called the right of confrontation. Do you understand you have that right in your case, Mr. Batt?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And in your case, Ms. Thorne?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
There's also a right called the right to appeal. That's something that you can do individually, each of you, or you can do it with your attorney, or your attorney can do it for you. That right involves demanding that a higher court review the official record, the evidence, the testimony in each of your individual cases. That has to be done in a proper way with the right paperwork and being aware of the time limits that are involved. But that's called essentially the right to appeal. Do you understand you have that right, Ms. Thorne?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Mr. Batt?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Right. Now, each of you individually in your individual cases and the state in each of your cases have a right to demand that this hearing, this proceeding be held in the open public courtroom. Because of the COVID pandemic, we're not doing that. What we're doing is what's called video conferencing. And that video conferencing is being streamed on YouTube. Nonetheless, you still have, each of you have the right to demand that this proceeding be held in the open public courtroom. Do you understand, each of you, the rights that I have just mentioned and explained? Mr. Batt?
Yes, sir, I understand.
And Ms. Thorne?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Now I'm going to remind you that those rights we just talked about, if you persist in a plea, you each give up those rights. Is that understood, Ms. Thorne?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Batt?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right. Now I'm going to take you and individually review some paperwork with each of you, and we'll conclude your particular proceeding. Mr. Batt, I'm showing you right now a document. Now, all these documents that I'll be showing you, I believe and understand that you and your attorney individually have review these documents. They're all going to start off with one exception. They'll start off with what I call identifying information at the top. This one is 639116 case number, and then the state of Texas versus Daniel Hernandez Bat in County Court at Law Number 5, Bexar County, Texas. The title of each document will then follow that. This one is State's Consent to Video Conference. A moment ago, I mentioned to you that you and the state both have the right to demand this hearing in open public courtroom. This document is signed by Mr. Edelman on behalf of the District Attorney's Office, wherein he agrees to do this by video conference. Did you see and understand this, Mr. Back?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right, the next document is called Discovery Acknowledgement. The identifying information at the top, then the title is Discovery Acknowledgement. The first line names a particular law, Article 39.14 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. You will not have to remember that or be tested on it, but it is the law that tells the state that in any proceeding like this, they must make available to you and acknowledge every receipt, document, item, video, whatever is involved of relevant evidence that would be important and necessary for you and your attorney to make an informed and intelligent decision. This one is signed by the state and by your attorney. They're saying, yes, this law has been obeyed. They have provided that discovery. Did you see and understand this, Mr. Beck?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Very good. The next document is your document. That's where you are saying, yes, I consent to the video conference. Did you see this and sign it, Mr. Beck?
Yes, sir.
Very good. The following document, again, identifying information. Case number 639116, State of Texas versus Daniel Hernandez Bat, County Court of Law Number 5. Is this the one that's being pled on, by the way? Yeah, the other one's being TIC'd, right?
That's correct, sir.
All right. This document starts off with 3 individual sentences. The second one says, I am charged with the offense of driving while intoxicated. Second. Did you see and understand that that was the original charge, Mr. Beck?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And then you have some very good work done by your attorney, because the state has agreed that you will plead. In fact, you're saying there in the third sentence, I hereby enter a plea of nolo contendere, which is no contest, and that is to driving while intoxicated. That means the charges are being changed, right?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right. The rest of this document is divided into 15 numbered parts. The very first one talks about DWI, the range of punishment. There's a stack of vertically placed boxes. Next to each one is a declaration about punishment, the different types of punishment for different offenses. The very first one is checked off, DWI first. That's not what you're charged with, right?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Are you going to be officially charged with that? What does it say as far as what punishment you could get?
$0 to $2,000 fine, 72 hours to 180 days in jail.
That is correct. You understand that's what the punishment is for your offense?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, I want you to read, hold on, Patricia. What does it say for DWI second, the third box?
0 to 4,000 fine and 30 days to 1 year in jail.
That's a lot different, isn't it?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
You need to remember that, because that's what the deal that you made, and that's the deal that your attorney got for you. Now, Mr. Vela. Mr. Vela, hello.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh, okay.
You were muted. Mr. Vela,
Yes, sir.
Did you and Mr. Bat go over all these documents carefully?
Yes, Your Honor.
This particular document is divided into 15 parts. It includes number 2 that talks about the right to a jury trial, confrontation of witnesses, and the right to remain silent. It talks number 5, whether he's ever been involved in registration, sex offender registration. Is it true that you've not been involved in any kind of thing like that, sir?
No, sir.
Okay. All these paragraphs, all these parts, you and Mr. Vela reviewed them and you understand them. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right. One thing just to remind you, the deal you made with the state, by law, I have to say yes or no. I have the authority and responsibility. I either say, yeah, the court approves this deal, or no, I reject it. I can also give you any punishment in the range of punishment you just read a moment ago, even if it's a heavier punishment than what you agreed to. Now, if I reject your deal and say, no, I don't accept this, or if I give you a punishment heavier than what you agreed to, in either case, the law would allow you to start all over again, and nothing you've said or signed would be used against you. Do you understand that? That's included in these papers.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right. You signed this one, right? You and your attorney.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right. The next document is mine, where I certified to you and to the public in the record. The 5th box has a check mark. You see it?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
I certify that this is a plea bargain case where you made a deal and you have no right of appeal. Is that clear?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right. The next document will be an application for judge-ordered community supervision probation. Did
Yes,
you
sir.
read this? Did you read this document carefully with Mr. Vela?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Did you understand what you're telling me by signing this document?
Yes, sir, I understand, sir.
All right. Now, let me repeat one thing for you and make something especially clear.
Yes, sir.
Probation is a written, legal, binding agreement between you and this court. You will receive a punishment upon being found guilty, and part of that punishment will be a jail sentence. That jail sentence I will suspend so long as you live up to 100% of the conditions of supervision. If you live up to all the conditions, then the case will be dismissed and you never go to jail. If you violate the conditions, you refuse to live up to them, or you just fail to live up to them, then the state can ask me to give you official notice, bring you in, and if the evidence supports it, I can send you to jail. Do you understand?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right. So the next document you will be shown will be a plea agreement. It'll take a moment because it's got to be reloaded in the computer. Well, this one here is personal data sheet. It's not complete. I'll need you to finish all this out here in the offices of the court, okay?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
You need all the 3 references, people that always know how to find you.
Okay.
Are you working?
Yes, sir.
Where do you work?
I work at Kennedy's Pub off
Okay.
Blanco and Hebner,
What do you do
and
there?
then I'm a cook, Your Honor,
Okay.
and then I'm a server at the Minger Hotel. I do 2 jobs.
All right. How much is your total earnings per month?
Probably about 1,400.
With 2 jobs, that's all you're making?
Yes, sir. I have child support taken out.
Well, that's why I'm asking, what is the total income that you make before child support is taken
Oh,
out?
before, well, yeah, I would say about 20, 22, 23, Your Honor.
You have 1 child or more?
I have 4 kids.
4.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you got a lot of child support, huh?
No, just I'm on it for one.
I see. Do you have a car?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
All right. We're coming up with a plea bargain deal in writing. Where are you living, Mr. Bat?
I live in the medical center, Your Honor, 5714 Bogart Drive.
Okay. All right, here's the plea agreement. Did you and your attorney review it carefully?
Yes, sir.
All right, you'll notice that first two boxes are marked. The first one talks about your right to remain silent. Did you understand that?
Yes, sir, Your
Second
Honor.
one, where were you born, you said?
Here in San Antonio.
Right. So that makes you a U.S. citizen. That's why the second little box is marked. Then there's a section called Defendant's Acknowledgements. You've gone over the 5 separate statements on there concerning rights and protections. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right. Now, the 69116 is the case we're on.
Yes, sir.
What is the state's motion?
State's motion is to waive the prior conviction enhancement and proceed as an unenhanced DWI.
No objection.
Defense?
No objection.
There being no objection, the court grants the motion and it is so marked. I'd like the paper to reflect that the defense had no objection. To that charge, DWI first, understand one thing, Mr. Bat. If you get another DWI, you're not going to be looking at another DWI second. You'll be looking at a felony. You understand that?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right. What is your plea officially?
Nolo contendere.
Right. Okay. Nolo contendere in this court is taken as a guilty plea, and it's sufficient for me to convict you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, I'm ordering you to come into County Court of Law number 5's offices
Okay.
within 7 days so that you can have a thumbprint placed on the paperwork in accordance with law. Is that
Okay.
understood?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right. And as part of this deal, this plea bargain, the court takes in consideration and dismisses case number 457250. Now, based on your plea of nolo contendere and the evidence, I find you guilty. You're sentenced to 6 months, Bexar County Jail, probated for a term of 16 months. You're fined $500. Those $500, if you live up to 100% of the conditions of supervision, that $500 will be forgiven. Foul up, screw up, the $500 is not necessarily going to be forgiven. Is that understood?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
You will submit to and participate in the DWI intervention program, a DWI victim impact panel live. You will submit to a TAP evaluation and follow recommendations. You will have 8 months of ignition interlock monitor placed on your vehicle. Since you're telling me at this point, and I would caution you to be careful, if you get a car, you're going to have to put an ignition interlock on it. Do you understand?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
So long as you don't have a car or have access to driving any car, then you will have a portable alcohol monitor
Okay.
for those 8 months.
Yes, sir.
During the entire 16 months, you're not to drink any alcohol at all. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Your supervisory fee will be $25 a month. Questions, Mr. Bat?
No, sir.
Mr.
I
Vella?
don't have questions.
Your Honor, there is one thing regarding 639116. A warrant was issued with regards to increasing the bond. I believe it's based on a violation. Mr. Bat was having some issues with his vehicle. Was having a very difficult time trying to put something on his vehicle at the time. He no longer has a vehicle. And because of that, a violation was made. We ask that you just recall that warrant and go forward with the plea.
Your Honor, you're muted.
I was wondering why you couldn't hear me, Mr. Vella. I'm told I was muted. I am recalling that warrant right now. So that'll be taken care of. Thank you for addressing that for your client. Any questions, Mr. Edelman?
Nothing from the state, sir.
All right. Thank you then, Mr. Vella and Mr. Bat. Well, Mr. Bat, you need to meet after